All right, light up the cigars. This episode is brought to you by State Farm.
Jack Dean State Farm.
Jack Dean Agency. Look at that fine young man up there. Did your dad go get these at that convention? Y'all went?
He sponsored it.
Oh, look at him. He sponsors a lot of stuff, don't he? Like just some like to get all types of people. Get that fixed for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for an insurance guy to be promoting tobacco, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Celebration Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew. Let's got you in there too in the picture too. I was making sure out. Tell you what, that's what you call a good friend.
I try to be.
He's working, or getting ready to start working today on some landscaping and whatnot, mowing and weeding. And about the time he's getting ready to put the weed eater in the truck, I called him to let him know the target buck tall tines was down.
I just told him straight up, "You're so full of crap."
He made me swear to God, which my mom would not be happy with, but I did it just so he'd know that I wasn't full of crap.
I was like, I ain't driving an hour and 20 minutes to just you pulling my leg.
All right, I think it started. If not, we'll know. Well, 2020 was a year to remember for a lot of people. COVID.
A lot of people in the woods.
Isn't that when Joe Blow got elected too? Or is getting ready to get elected? Yeah.
Technically was.
Mm-hmm. Something else about 2020 is that's the very first year we got pictures of this buck here. And going back even further, really, thank you, Dan Infault, for giving us encouragement on buck bedding areas, even though it had nothing to do with this location. The only reason I'm saying that is, out of all places, Tristan actually pulled up the map and was looking at some public ground and seen a good knob that was overlooking, and he's like, man, I think there might be bucks in this area. And sure enough, he went to go.
The parking lot.
He was overlooking the parking lot, and sure enough, he checked it out and jumped a few bucks. And this was in 2020, so he ended up hanging a camera. Well, 2020 was the first year we got this guy on camera, and he was a tall tined 8-pointer.
Tank for an 8-pointer.
I mean, right away, the only reason we named deer is just so me and him know who we're talking about. We don't like see a buck like, oh, we're gonna name him.
We're real original,
Jethro,
anyways. This is Tall Tines.
Yeah,
real original name.
Tall Tines. You know, there's a reason why we call him Tall Tines, and it's because even as a 2.5-year-old or 3.5-year-old, not really sure how old he was back then in 2020. But he had those distinct tall tines and that main beam that just kind of shooted up. And
curved forward and curved in.
It's like, we're going to tall tines it is. And we didn't chase him too hard 2020. We just knew he was in the area. We hunted here a few times. But really, following the next year, we started hunting hard, and we've hunted.
Last 2 years, tough.
Last 2 years, extremely tough. Camping out, waking up and felt like sub below zero. But really, you know.
Plenty of ice on the beard in the morning.
Yeah, with COVID.
Yeah, man.
I got COVID, and I don't know if you ended up getting it or not, but.
Yeah.
There was another buck in here. I actually missed with the bow. It was pretty nice. Nothing like this one here. That was last year.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about these mountain bucks is we have put 8 or 9 trail cameras out trying to get this guy on trail camera more, and we only have a handful of pictures of him.
Yeah.
Well,
Every year, minimum of 3 or 4 cameras, and every
yeah,
year we'd only get him once to 3 or 4 times all year long. Well, all fall long.
yep. Went shed hunting, never could find the sheds. Um,
This buck either traveled a ton,
he did
or he
travel a ton.
lived, or he lived in tiny spots, and we could only catch him every once in a while.
Well, I pulled up Spartan Forge, and I marked everywhere we had trail cameras. Yeah. It would have been a triangle, so really this number you could cut in half, I guess. But I didn't.
That's just known area he's in, though.
Known area that we have progress of where he has been previously was 15 square miles.
Yeah.
And that is per Onyx. That ain't me just throwing a number. Excuse me, Spartan Forge. I use both apps, so if I say Spartan Forge or Onyx, you know what I'm talking about.
Just as the crow flies, one of the spots is all the way over a mountain, down a mountain, and into a valley, like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from where we had him on camera.
Mm-hmm. We got him down in there in January.
Yeah, he had one antler shed.
Mm-hmm. Shed hunted that in a little bit, which I ain't the best shed hunter by no means. I suck at it.
Worst shed hunter.
Really, purpose for shed hunting for me is really getting out and finding sign. It's not really looking for antlers the whole time I'm out there.
What's kind of funny with this deer is we were kind of in the best spot right away, but it took a lot of trips to figure out, hey, this actually is the best spot. We had to cover a lot of ground to actually figure out if he's in here. He's going to be in one of these 2 places most likely.
It was a lot of second guessing.
Yeah.
A lot of nights I'd spend on the mapping system, and we'd be shooting it back and forth to each other. I shot it back and forth to a friend of mine, and not much was said. I felt like we was in the best area the whole time, and our access was very, very limited.
You got one spot on the whole mountain.
You got one spot you can only go in at. Everything else is private land, or else you just can't get up it. So daggone steep and thick.
And that played into how you killed him today. I won't take it from there, but the way you access is 100% how you killed him. But before we even go there, what's crazy about this deer is how many close calls we've had. We haven't seen him in person, but we were right there around him several times.
Going back on November the 7th. Oh, my phone's recording. I can't look at my phone because I'm recording with it. Jeez. Retard. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend nobody or nothing. I'm loose with my terminology. But going back to last year, I think it was the 17th of November. Yeah. I was running a cell cam. He was up in the woods near where I killed him.
Just over
and
the
I
ridge.
Was a few ridges over.
Yeah.
And he was pushing a doe and had him in daylight. We physically did not see him with our own eyes.
He was just 200 yards over the ridge from where I was.
Yeah.
And there was there was another buck with him that day, and I actually ended up seeing that other buck. So I had to be close to him.
Mm-hmm. I was hunting hard for 4 days. Granted, I didn't hunt hard for this deer for 4 days because, to be honest, I gave up on him. I was coming in to pull my cameras.
That's how it works.
Well, I put batteries in my backpack in case I were to see some inside, and I was going to leave one up just because I always like leaving cameras up year long. Well, I pulled the one camera, got down out of the tree because I hang my cameras up high. Got down out of the tree, and I'm still hunting my way in. I bumped some deer coming in.
Because of that access we're talking about. Where you have to access, you have to go through deer to get to deer. So you're almost best off just taking your time.
But anyways, so I'm still hunting my way in. It's super loud. And when it's November, if you ain't in the woods, you ain't hunting. And that's what you got to do in November. Because in a blink of an eye, the world can change. And your target buck is standing in front of you. And that's more or less what had happened. Is I went still hunting my way in to change these cameras or to pull them, whatever. And the sun was shining down in this deep ravine, and I knew it was a bedding area through there, so I was glassing it from a distance with my naked eye because I didn't have my binoculars out, had my rifles or my muzzle loader. That scope won't zoom in far enough to get a clear picture of nothing. Uh, but it just so happened the sun was beating down on a silky coat of a deer, and it was a doe. And then that doe turned into two does. And then I heard a meh, meh, just kind of from a distance. Didn't know if it was a crow, raven, or whatever. It ended up being that buck. He had followed those does. Them does came up to where I was about 40 yards away. Actually, no, he was about 40 or 50 yards away. The does were about 20 yards away. And what was happening is my wind was blowing this way. Them does got to right here. I was about 10 yards away from not being able to get an opportunity on this deer because of the wind. So I told myself, after many prayers within the 5 minutes, actually it's about 20 minutes of me standing, uh, I said the first opportunity I get at him, I'm pulling the trigger. And that's what I did. Them does kept on coming up. They stopped. She was staring at me. Then here comes this buck, just nose to the ground. He knew something wasn't right, and he stepped out in front of a laurel thicket, and I had that much of an opportunity to shoot in front of his shoulder, kind of near his neck. So I put it on there and squeezed the trigger, and that's all she wrote. My right hand went numb because I was holding the gun for so long at the ready position, and I had to curl it underneath for whatever reason. I couldn't get a good rest. I actually used my trekking pole to try to help there, but I was nervous. My body was turned this way, and I was like this because I had to stand still. But that's pretty much the story of this deer. You got anything to add to it?
You relieved some demons with that too. You've
Oh,
had some rough times with a muzzleloader the last few years, so it's
missed
nice to finally piece it all together.
missed a bear last year with the muzzleloader. I've had a lot of big buck encounters. Well,
For
three or
mountain bucks, yeah.
4 mountain buck encounters in the mountains, and really wasn't able to get it done. I killed a lead pointer, but it was on private land that I'd asked permission for. But this one here is really I'm gonna call it hopefully the first of many.
You worked hard for this one. 4 years you've
Yeah,
pieced this together.
nose to the ground, and not to get too cheesy because I don't like being too cheesy, especially with you, but really couldn't have done it without Tristan because he was the first one to put a camera in here to find this area. Then after that we kind of just fell in love with this area and was like, we got to start hunting it.
Yeah.
So we started spending time in it, figuring out in this season and off season, and Lord, how many trips you think we've made it in here?
A lot of gas has been burnt in here. A lot of tires been burnt here too. You've busted a tire
Busted
here
a tire
twice.
here twice.
Yeah. This buck's cost you a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of bittersweet because after 4 years you develop a strange love for an animal, And I don't know if it's necessarily for the animal, but it's for the experience of chasing that animal, trying to get fulfillment by killing that animal. And now that I've been able to do it, it's just like bittersweet. I didn't know whether to shout and cry or what.
Yeah, it's worth shouting. You had some other deer chasing, or some other people chasing this deer too.
Yeah,
Both sides of the mountain, we had people
I've got
chasing them.
I've got him. I've got 2 guys on trail camera right here with him walking the same logging road. One guy was an old man with a muzzleloader, and then the other one was I don't know. I guess it could have been the same guy, but he just changed his swag a little bit. He was rocking out with some QU and just carrying a compound now. I guess he's been watching the hunting public or something, trying to figure out how to kill this deer. But really,
that gives you props to that deer though, because he did live under at least 500 or 600 noses for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, he had to make it through as a 4-pointer. Whenever heck, he might have came out a freaking 8-pointer. I don't know.
He's a dandy.
I don't know.
His first year we got him, he wasn't a big body, but he had horns.
Mm-hmm. There ain't no secrets in killing these mountain bucks. It's just you've got to hang in there with them.
Know that there's a lot of luck.
Yeah, know that there's big deer around in the area, and go days without seeing deer. I mean, that's normal. But persistence, consistency, and being an insane idiot, I think, is what got the job done.
No, without doubt.
Some guys are like, yeah, insane's doing the same thing over and over and over or whatever without changing it and expecting the same results. Well, I'm looking at insanity because that's what I had to do for this one.
I still can't believe it's real.
We're going to jump off here and finish these cigars for celebration. Soak it up a little bit longer. head home. This is my last day of vacation. What a great way to end it.
Not a bad way to end it, yeah.
See y'all next time.